Okay, so some of you might have seen my video that I posted the other day on Tuesday about how if you're not going to research the issue, do not throw up Black Lives Matter, anything. Don't throw up anything about the issue if you're not going to research. Do not try to borrow energy that is not yours. Before you put anything out, do your research. So whether it's All Lives Matter or Black Lives Matter or something else matters to you, don't post anything. I have seen some wretched mistakes, particularly from smaller businesses who have a smaller customer base and therefore are more vulnerable to consumer anger. So that has been incredibly unfortunate. However, we've also seen some good things come out, like when you consider Ben and Jerry's statement. But the statement I wanted to focus on today was Stitch Fixes. Yes, not a B2B company, but you know what? I will take good examples wherever I can get them. Okay. So Stitch Fix put out on Facebook on the 3rd of June a statement that clearly indicated where they stood on the issues without focusing on the individual aspects of the situation per se. And so they start out by saying that they denounce systemic racial inequality that exists in the United States and around the world, and they aspire to be a force for change. They aspire to be a force for change. And pretty much from that point on, they talk about how they stand with the Black community and against white supremacy. But basically, from that point on, that's what they focus on. They focus on what they can change. So that was the first thing I loved about this statement. They said, yes, racial inequality is bad, but they don't necessarily wade into the details and get lost and talk about what they think about those particular issues. They focus on the larger issue at hand, and then they roll into 4 points, 4 points with numbers and dates so we can actually hold them accountable. That is, I think, the first great step, because putting out a statement that says, yes, we're against racial inequality and these things are bad. Okay, you said that, but what does that mean? And so Stitch Fix's statement puts their money where the mouth is. So first point was that they'll make a financial pledge for the long term. So they've said that they're going to donate $100,000 to Black Lives Matter. They're going to match employee donations. The founder is also committed $100,000 to organizations that promote social justice for the Black community. And so basically, over the next 5 years, they are committed to donate at least $500,000 to help provide sustained financial support. Did you hear that? $500,000 over the next 5 years. Boom. Okay, so that's something that we can keep track of, right? That is focusing on change and giving us a way to hold them accountable. When I did my interview with Takia Ross, which is going out live next week, that was one of the things she said in terms of change. We have to do things that hold people. So, yes, accountability is key. Their second point, was that they'll put resources and influence behind supporting and growing Black businesses. So, minority, Black and Indigenous POC businesses, those types of businesses have been critically underfunded for a really long time. Takia and I talked about that as well. So, I'm telling you, you guys are going to want to tune in next week. But they want to support Black owned enterprises in their vendor base, but they say that there aren't enough. They could have left it at that. There's not enough, which would have made for a really poor point in here, right? So again, focusing back on the change. In order to accelerate the change, they're going to create a program of grants and mentorship opportunities to help support the creation of more Black-owned apparel companies. And they're going to publish more information about this program on August 1st, 2020. We can hold them accountable for that. If August 1st, August 2nd rolls around and we say, hey, Stitch Fix, you guys were supposed to put out something about this Black apparel support program, we can do that on August 2nd because they said by August 1st. Third point, they will continue their mission around equality and diverse representation. Data is power, and they've committed to releasing their company data on pay equity and representation also by August 1st. So they're going to share their best practices, but they say here, they're going to own the places where they need to be held accountable for change and have, more diversity in their hiring practices. That's fantastic because, again, by releasing that data, that gives us something that we can look at, but it also helps, again, hold them accountable with transparency. And then their fourth point, they want to reflect the diversity of the world back to their clients and customers. So they're going to select ambassadors for their brand and models for their marketing campaigns who represent and celebrate the Black community. Now, they're going to do that by investing another $100,000 in marketing. They didn't put a deadline on that, so we don't know if it's like a one-time $100,000 investment or if it's $100,000 per year. That's how they're going to do it. We don't know, but they've acknowledged clearly that adding dates and numbers will help hold them accountable. It gives transparency. So whether or not you agree with these points, and again, so it's not necessarily about agreeing with the points so much as we can kind of see from a more objective standpoint that they've provided numbers, they've provided dates. This was not hasty. They didn't commit to releasing data and these numbers in a hasty way. Yeah, let's do $500,000. $500,000. That's cool. Let's just, programs. We'll do programs, more money in marketing. Yeah, let's do it. No, that was not hasty. You can tell by the way it's written that they took not just a look at systemic racial inequality, but they took a look at inequality in their industry. And they looked at what they could change in their industry for small Black owned businesses. That is specific. That took time, that took care. And I mean, I used to be a Stitch Fix customer. Kind of makes me want to go check out their website again, if I'm being honest. This was a well-written statement. So if you want an example of what a well-written statement looks like in today's day, I think that Stitch Fix did a really good job. Yeah, I mean, that it is what it is. Like, again, my previous video wasn't necessarily trying to take sides or not, but my previous video said that if you wanted to put something out, don't make it thoughtless, don't make it hasty. Focus and research so you understand the issue. But Stitch Fix focused and researched, and they understand where they can help. And that's what they put in this statement. They focused on change, not just saying, oh, this is wrong and this is right and we support these people. How do you support people? No matter who it is, how do you support them? How are you going to be a force for change? That's what these statements need to look like.